All right, in this episode, we talk about weighted balls with heavy lifting
and the difference between heavy weighted balls and lightweight balls.
All right, Brent Porcio, Stephen Godani here, Scott Suter at the @TopVelocity #PitchTip Show, where you go to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. We're still on Snapchat, right?
Yeah.
@TopVelocity, #PitchTips, #BaseballTips. Ask your question, we answer on the show. I don't know, nothing much going on. That's usually at the end of the show. You can, how does it work? Take a little shot of the screenshot it, and then for Snapchat, and then it adds you to us. We keep up with our story, not as much as when we had more guys here. Everybody's going to season now, so our story might not be as frequent. But when the summer comes, it's gonna be big. So I would say, add us to Snapchat and be a big summer. This is gonna be a big summer because there's a lot of things that are gonna be going on. So come on down if you can. Come on down and play with us, man. Come play with us. It's fun down here, right? When I'm not working, all I do is work. All right, what's our question for today?
Brett Haney asks, what are your thoughts on weighted balls while also lifting heavy?
Good question. Here's someone who's done weighted balls. I've done weighted balls. You ever done weighted balls? I've done weighted balls. I did weighted balls.
I've done them a little bit. I haven't done them like a ton.
Well, you can talk about them. I did weighted balls in 1990 with the late Dick Mills' program. He would basically use T-ball, baseball, softball, and do that. And of course, then I also did some weighted balls later on. But I was doing that in like 1990, 91 is when I first did it. I know Tom House has been doing since the 70s, so weighted balls have been around for a long time. But it's a good question to say, what's your thoughts on them with heavy lifting? Here's the problem. Weighted balls are gonna put a little bit more stress on your arm. So if you're throwing a lot of weighted balls as opposed to regular balls, or like we do 2-pound med balls, then you could be putting some wear and tear on your arm, meaning you go in to lift heavy and you don't want to hold the bar when you go into heavy loads, in a deadlift, in a clean, in a press, you don't want to press into that. So, or at the same time too, a lot of guys go when we start throwing. So when we get to the end of our off season and we start throwing more, guys go, man, my bench press really went down. Yes, because you're throwing more. And the arm doesn't want to put the loads on it anymore. And that's what I've said before. That's what I love about the 3X programs is that we use a 2-pound med ball and we throw very much focus on hip to shoulder separation, lower half that takes the stress off the arm. So we don't have a lot of wear and tear. We don't have a lot of arm care or arm recovery going on. Guys don't typically complain about their arms. And they can go in the weight room and they feel great and they start going at it, okay? So if you're in a weighted ball program, it could be very much a program that's going to limit what you can do in the weight room. So that's another big negative for me is how much can you actually lift on a weighted ball program? And that's why I don't like extreme long toss.
For me, when I threw like a little bit of weighted balls like not too long ago, but it was when I was throwing them, like right when I started, like my arm like instantly started hurting, and I was like, all right. So then I like completely stopped them completely, and then I just went straight to baseballs, and then like I had no arm problems at all right after that. So I mean, I guess it just.
So you're saying it does put the stress on your arm?
I'm saying it. Yes, it definitely does put the stress on your arm. But now that I've been throwing a lot more, I sometimes use them to warm up my arm, but I don't I never go like 100% with them. So
yeah, I think they're good. They're good for a warm up. I use them in a few of my drills specific to when I decel or add resistance to the drive leg. I don't want to speed up the arm, so then I add resistance to the arm with a weighted ball. What do you think? Lifting heavy with weighted balls.
I don't know. There's just not a lot of research on it, but I would say that it's something that's combining both of them. I just don't think it's the best idea. Just because it's like Brent's saying, you're just putting stress on your body with the lifting, especially when you're doing our type of lifting where we're bench pressing and jerking and doing presses overhead, and you're adding all that stress to it, and then you want to just compound that stress with weighted balls. and then don't even like go into if you have the arm path for it. We're not even going into that. That would be another concern that I think you're just asking. You're really pushing your limits of what your arm is going to be able to handle, which could potentially lead to an injury, which would really suck. I had something else I wanted to say, but I'm blanking on it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to put caution. I mean, I've already put caution on weighted balls, but I'm going to put caution on it with heavy lifting. I'm fine with weighted balls if they're not at the extremes and they don't take us out of our mechanics and they don't take us out of our weight room. Problem is, it's hard to do weighted balls and not have all that happen. That's why I typically speak out against them. But, you know, any guy in my approach who's kind of maxed everything doesn't mean we've given up. It just meant it's harder to get progress. They want to bring in some weighted ball work. I'm very fine with it as long as they stay within the principles. Make sure you're still achieving those good mechanics, you know, lower half, hip shoulder separation. Make sure it's not compromising your lifts, and make sure it's not, you know, hurting you or putting too much wear and tear on you. Then we can fit it in. Did you remember what you wanted to say? Anything left you want to say? No. So, a good question. Next question, all kind of along the same lines.
Justice Martin asks, resisted throwing with weighted baseballs is not as beneficial. Thoughts on over speed training with light balls?
I guess he's saying people are finding that the heavier balls aren't as beneficial as the light balls. You think that's what he's saying?
I don't think that's true at all.
What is he? Oh, so are you going to argue that?
I'm going to argue that completely because actually, I mean, sure, I mean, having a lighter ball will quicken up your arm, no doubt. But it will also, what like experimentation we have done in this facility with weighted balls, I've actually found that when you use a heavier ball, it actually allows your arm to get more external rotation. So then it actually helps you throw harder using like a little bit heavier ball, so that you can actually feel your arm laying back. But I really haven't experimented that much with light balls at all. I don't really see the point in them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have that experience from the heavy to light because I always did them together. But like I said, I don't really even use that approach. It is kind of odd. I mean, because I've heard that. Am I wrong? I've heard that from other camps that the lighter balls is really what increases the velocity. But at the same time, too, in those camps, they talk about how javelin throwers, we need to be more like javelin throwers because they throw hard, but if I'm throwing a javelin, aren't I throwing a heavier object? You know, those typically weigh about 1.7 pounds. So I don't know. It's like, I'm confused.
I think
this
I
question.
Can help clarify it. From what I understand with the weighted balls, is you go heavier weighted balls. I'm going to compare it to like if you're strength training in the weight room, people will do a heavy squat and then you compound it with a body weight exercise like a plyometric jump. So where it's lightened and you're activating all the muscle, you're activating getting rate of force development with a heavy squat, and then you go immediately to a jump to fire those muscles really quickly. It's the same kind of concept with a weighted ball that they're trying to do. Exactly, we're trying to do a heavy load with a heavier ball, and then they go to the lighter load to get everything to fire even quicker. So they're trying to just get rate of force.
So based on that logic and mentality, the accelerators in the arm are the lats, the pecs, because those are the two big muscle groups that attach into the humerus. Mm-hmm. So they're obviously trying to get more motor unit recruitment with the heavier object and the lats and the pecs, which is the prime movers. So wouldn't it be more beneficial to load those even more with, say, a pull-up or a weighted pull-up and a bench press?
I would say so. I mean, yeah,
Does it need to be as sport specific as the weight should be in the throw, or can we even put more weight on it in a weighted pull or a bench press, and then go throw?
I would,
because that's the PAP routine that I want to do. Yeah. I want to do a PAP routine just like I did with Olympic lifting. I want to do a PAP routine with the bench press and the pull-up, where we go in, we do a heavy pull, heavy bench, come out and throw, and we watch our ball speed go up. Yeah. Because that's going to work. It's PAP. It's post-activation potentiation.
You can even do upper body plyometrics after that too. Like you do a heavy bench press and get on the ground and do some explosive.
But what do you think would be more effective? Would a 7-ounce, 8-ounce baseball be more effective in PAP, or would a weighted pull-up bench press before you throw be more effective? What do you think?
I mean, I would say,
I'd have to experiment.
I mean, those are things that I would like to test. Just because is that why we're doing weighted balls? It's PAP, it's post-activation potentiation.
I don't think it's PAP. I think they're literally thinking of it as rate of force development.
So using motor unit recruitment, and when it recruits more motor units, it breaks down more muscles, it builds them stronger, so it can handle more torque. So it really is all related to PAP. Sounds like it, post-activation potentiation. So if it is, why can't we just go farther than that and get into real heavy loads like we do in the weight room, like we do with the 3X programs, you know?
Because they would say it's not sport specific.
I've like seen some guys get like better ball speed after like they'll throw and then they'll maybe be moving slow and then they'll go into the weight room and do like some power cleans and then like that'll help them move down the mountain faster. So I guess bench press or like weighted pull-ups.
Well, that's because a power clean, you're literally activating everything. Your whole body's firing.
Yeah.
Whereas a weighted ball throw, you're
just in the
you're
shoulder.
focusing. Yeah, you're focusing on getting the arm going.
But if you think about that, is that the only reason we do weighted balls is for PAP to activate more of the motor units and which would strengthen the shoulder? If that's the case, I would argue that lifting. That's why if you look at the studies on upper body plyometric strength training, it has the 4 to 6 to 7 mile an hour increases. If you look at the weighted ball studies, it has 2 to 3, some to 4. But I would bet that the lifting is going to have more if this is the only reason to do it. And this goes back to his first question: do we do weighted balls with the heavy lifting? I really believe if you're going to do the heavy lifting, you don't need the weighted balls.
Yeah,
That's just me.
or if you were going to add the weighted balls in, you would have to time it where you're not just throwing everything together. Because like a lot of people make the argument, well, why can't we just do it all at the same time and we get all the benefits?
And we answered the first question, the reason we wouldn't, because it'd be too hard to do both, because the shoulder
much
would
stress.
go. But here's the thing. So like you said, others say the weighted balls are good for putting in more external rotation. I'll give you that. But does that mean every guy with more external rotation throws the hardest? For example, Barry Zito came in here with 140 to 150 degrees of active external rotation. I still haven't seen any kid come in here with that. David Ardsman doesn't have it. You know, Adam Garcia through 94 in here doesn't have it. So the point is, I don't see a direct correlation to someone's active external rotation to ball speed, because think about it, it's tension. So it's like, if I have a long skinny rubber band and I can pull it back really far, does that mean it's going to fire faster than the little thick one that I can only get going so far? No, because it's tension, it's energy. So I mean, so it's like, so why are we doing the weighted ball? So we're doing it post-activation potentiation. Well, I can do that better with weighted pulls and bench press. And if we're doing it for external rotation, I want to see the studies that say harder throwers have more external rotation. I know they have more external rotation in the arm path, but that's energy hitting the arm. There's no study that says they have more external rotation as far as in an active measurement. I haven't seen that study. Somebody show me I'm wrong. So I don't know. You're the one who just experimented with it. What do you feel like is the true benefit of it?
I feel like it taught me a little bit how to feel my arm laying back better. I didn't do like a bunch of them, so because I kind of went away from them because like my arm started hurting. But I just think, I mean, with some of the other guys that were doing them, I think that it helped a lot. It helps them like feel their arm laying back.
So that's why it's probably a good warm up.
Yeah. So
It's a good warm up to kind of get you that feeling of full range.
Yeah. But then again, like we also saw like some like weird things happening. Like one kid threw like a 6-ounce ball, 89, and his like normal baseball was like 84 because like his arm got to lay back more, and then he could go faster with this like external rotation, and then
because it stretched the arm.
Because it stretched the arm.
But then when you don't have the heavier object stretching the arm, it doesn't happen.
Yeah. So I mean, it's really up to
So it's something to learn and experiment and to play with, but is it something that has the guaranteed stamp of this is you're going to throw your hardest ever because you did weighted balls?
No,
I don't think so.
they've been around forever.
If it was that effective, everybody
would be
right. It would be the
on
gold
train.
standard, which probably in a way it might be becoming the gold standard. But is then it comes down to, okay, if weighted balls are so effective and everyone's throwing harder, then is that really the edge anymore? If everyone's using it?
I think weighted balls would be almost pointless if you didn't have any, like,
I think
if you weren't training strength too.
Right.
I think of it this way though too. There's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of athletes that are playing baseball that are throwing weighted balls at this point. There's not as many going through a strength and conditioning program trying to build.
Or
their
an
athleticism.
Olympic-based strength and conditioning.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
So until this is the norm, like this is the thing to do until everybody's doing the Olympic lifting.
I agree completely.
And it's like the extreme long
Right over
toss.
here.
How many guys are trying to throw the ball as far as they can?
Every single person is. If you play baseball, you have extreme long toss.
Yeah.
Every single person,
Every single person.
and it doesn't make everybody throw 95.
So it's like, I want to be Donald Trump one day, and the word is all you have to do is get a job and start climbing the ladder, right? This is David calling. Finish the show for me.
Donald Trump's a poor example, but I don't know where he was going with that, but I think that was a pretty good talk on it. So we'll see you guys on the next show. Follow us on Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter. Hit us up with any of your questions. Follow us on Snapchat. We love you guys. Thank you for watching. See you later.
Yeah. Hold on.